All right, it's 3 o'clock, so let's start. Thank you all for coming. Amazing to see you all and amazing to be in Paris. And today I'll talk about something bold because it's basically telling you how people build multi-million-dollar products with no code and something even more important, which is how you can do it too. So first, let me just introduce myself. I was kind of thinking to put picture of myself here. I'll just put arrows, so it's me. I'm David. Good to see you. So I came all the way here from Poland, and I'm head of no-code at Tonik. I will tell you more about Tonik just later in the presentation. But what I like to do, between leading the team of no-code, doing the strategy, and basically doing a lot of products and websites, is I like to run. And this is a picture actually taken 2 weeks ago, where we ran the marathon. Besides me is Damian, which is our head of design. There's my brother. There's other people from our company. And yeah, we did it. It was super intense. But yeah, that's how I looked on like 38 kilometers. It was super tough. I was smiling, but don't be fooled. I was dying inside. The smile was fake. And it's sometimes like this with building products. You are just like dying inside, clicking, nothing is working, but just persevering with the smile and just doing it. So let's run the presentation. Let me just introduce you quickly to Tonik. Yeah, so that's Tonik. So it's super cool to have a motion designer in-house because he just pulled it out like in 3 hours. So it's cool he prepared a reel for us. So Tonik is design at its core. It's a design agency founded in 2006. So it's a long time ago. When it was founded, I was still thinking girls were kinda and that's where it started. It's 60 people right now. We are working mainly with early stage startups from Silicon Valley, doing a lot of design work. And that's how it all started, basically. But then we saw something. Since we were working with early stage startups, we also started thinking about no-code because market and early stage startups and early stage startup founders are a completely different breed. They need stuff very, very, very fast. They need to go from 0 to 1 very, very, very quickly. And they need solutions that allow them to actually move from 0 to 1 super quick. So we saw that. We saw that around 5 years ago. And when founders came to us with design, we slowly started noticing that they also need like quick development, basically throwing their product on Product Hunt very quickly. So we started utilizing tools. And that's how we got introduced to Webflow. And up until this day, we've built around 110 websites. And that's not even counting freelance. I think I myself did like 40 last 2 years doing like also freelance. I don't advise it to anyone because I burned myself to the ground doing that. So yeah, but we basically love Webflow and it's our go-to tool and it's our like fundamental tool to do stuff, do websites. But yeah, we were doing a lot of websites, but then we noticed something else. So the founders were coming to us with products and they just started asking us, hey, can you validate this product, not only do the design, but can you build a product for us using this no-code technology? I see you're using Webflow, and can you do this? So that's how we found Bubble. And how did we learn Bubble? By doing Pickle. So this is a product we've built on this platform, and we've actually built it in 2 days. And that's how we learned it. It was actually a part of my onboarding. So Pickle is a design dilemma solver. And the idea is super cool. So in design agencies, you need to ask for a lot of feedback. You have, like, let's say, a screen here, and you change like one small thing, and you want to ask for an opinion from your colleagues. So up until this point, everyone was doing this on Slack. And they were just like posting one screen, and then voting with emojis. So it generated a problem. because you posted something like a dilemma to solve, and then people voted, and you saw the votes. So you saw that the head of design voted for something, so you're biased. You wanted to vote like head of design. You didn't want to be different. So we built this tool that is completely anonymous. Like you can create like an account, and the difference is you post 2 pictures, and you don't see the votes until you vote. Until people vote, then when you vote, then the votes will show from other people. And how we build it? And it's actually a super cool way of testing no-code tools is doing a hackathon. So as I mentioned, it was a part of my onboarding. They locked me in the office for 40 hours. And hackathons are great to validate MVPs because you need to move fast. So we had just 40 hours. So we needed to cut things down. We needed to move, like our idea, our end goal was to put it online, put it to use, and not care about a lot of stuff in between, like rounded corners or like drop shadows or any other things. So that's super cool way of testing and building products. Other thing, so this is actually an insane story of how you can generate multi-million dollars using no-code. And this is Cactus, and don't let this cute little thing fool you. It's sleeping, but it's actually sleeping on 2 million users. And it's entirely built on Bubble, which is a no-code platform. And when the founders first came to us, we were just amazed, because I even asked them for an analytics, because I didn't believe them that they have like 1 million users running on the Bubble, and it's actually true. So what is Cactus? Cactus was born when ChatGPT started to rise. So these 2 guys from US saw an opening. They saw that people use ChatGPT to write essays for them, but it wasn't kinda legal. Because you had these essays, like with normal ChatGPT, it wasn't working super well, and you didn't have one thing which was super important. We didn't have citations. So they added citations there. And one of the founders actually used Bubble, didn't know about it before. He just wanted to test fast because he knew he needed to move fast. And he basically built a front end. And that's how Cactus gained like 2 million users now. And what Cactus teaches us, it teaches us about one super important thing. Cactus AI is a definition of getting to speed with no code. So these 2 guys had an idea, and they wanted to test it. They knew they needed front end. So they used Bubble, they connected ChatGPT through an API. It was super easy, and that's how they launched it, and that's how they are sitting on 2 million users right now, and counting, and still counting. And the funny fact is, Bubble actually changed the product itself for them 2 times, because they had this user counter on the front, and it was doing a lot of like calculations. Like every time it added a user real time, it like prompted Bubble. So they needed to change because the servers were getting super overdriven, and we helped them with some of the parts of the application. So yeah, now these 2 stories, these 2 products taught us something. That there is a lot of leverage to be gained by utilizing tools like no-code. And we use them now to not only launch commercial products like Bubble, or like recently we did a product that was a clone of Airbnb, but for house swapping, also entirely built on Bubble. But also, we use it to launch products on our own. And there is an amazing thing happening now. I thought it was happening 2 years ago, but I think it's happening now. And looking at all of you here, and even people in the door, I didn't notice that. Hi, guys. Like, there is a lot of stuff happening now, because now we are noticing a paradigm shift. We are moving from old school way of doing products. And I know a lot of you recognize this picture in the background. It's Windows XP. It's also no-code. It's still a no-code platform, right? It's one of the first ones. And like building the stuff old school, I was like, doing a product and having this long-term vision and doing updates every year, like super custom coded. And now we moved into a new era, which is new school. And it's kind of like a sprint. So just as I said before with Cactus, it's moving super fast and like cutting corners where you can, using tools, leveraging components that are pre-built, doing a lot of stuff that is like already made, using those, throwing them in the one bag, and testing the ideas very, very, very quickly. And just like in music, old school can exist coherently with new school. So it doesn't mean new school is bad. And it doesn't mean old school is bad. It means that we have a new guy on the block. And how can we become this new school character? So there is this guy, which I love. There is this story of this guy that is a completely, like, he's the living and breathing legend of new school. He's Peter Levels. And this guy earns around $200,000 a month. And how he does it is he actually doesn't use no-code platforms. It's okay, but he still has this mindset. He uses a ton of PHP and jQuery, still to this day. He started a long time ago, and he just knows it so well that he uses it to build stuff. So he came up with an idea. It's Nomad List. And Nomad List is a directory of, let's say you want to go somewhere, because we have this new era of being nomads, and I'm a nomad myself, so let's say I want to go to a different city. Bless you. So let's say I want to go to a different city, and I don't know how the internet is there. I don't know like what is the cost of living there. So he just built a directory. And actually, you know how it started? It didn't start with him putting this entire vision, getting like entire team of developers, like custom coding everything. No, he just started by using another no-code tool. And yes, Google Sheets is a no-code tool too. So he just started, he noticed that this product is missing on the market, and he knew that people might use it. So he just started putting cities in the Google Sheet, did a categories on top, and started categorizing them. And the funny fact is what he did later. So he shared it on Twitter, and he thought that it's a view-only link, so that people can only see it. But it wasn't. It was an edit access link. And he was super, like, scared at first, because, you never know what somebody on the internet might put there. But what started happening was pure magic. So people joined into this Google Sheet, and they started adding cities. And they started growing the database. So that's how we knew. It basically, market validated the idea, and he just used this magic of PHP and jQuery and built the Nomad List. And that's one of the products he uses now to generate him a ton of money. So when I first approached this presentation, I was about to give a blueprint of like how you can technically build products, but it's a long talk. There's so many approaches. But there is one thing that doesn't change at all. And it's the most important part of this presentation. And it's actually the mindset. Because you can know all the tools, every tool, Webflow, Bubble, Glide, Make, Zapier. There's a ton of those. I even met guys that built no-code products for space. Literally, they are here. It's insane. There's a lot of tools. But to do that, you need to have the mindset right. And what is the first rule of the no-code mindset on how you can actually become someone that builds product that generate multi-million dollars? You don't overthink. We tend to think a lot. We tend to, I don't know, we want to get everything right. But everything starts with an idea. And also, another funny thing is, even when we have ideas, we don't act on them. We just have them, we forget, we kind of think, oh, I can't do it, let me just pass it. And it just passes. So just don't overthink. And a good example of that is this thing, which I'm very proud of. Actually, the guy that built that sits right here from Tonik. And this is something we did for our clients on Christmas last year. So we had this idea. We want to make our clients feel special. Let's just build something. Let's utilize this now, our no-code knowledge, our design knowledge. Let's do something for them. So we thought, what if we can, and also let's do something good for the world. I know, bold idea, but let's try. So we had this. idea. And that's what came out of it. So this is like a old OS system that you can drag around the windows. You can just open these icons. And there's these trees. And you just hunt those trees. You just gather them. They are hidden all over these screens. And when you find them, you actually plant trees in real life. So we planted, I think, around 900 trees out of this game. Clients loved it. Even HubSpot posted about this, which we found out 6 months after, which is funny. And how did it come? Like, you might think, oh, it must have been super complicated to build this stuff. No. And that's the slide I love the most. Fuck perfection. Like, we always want to get everything super perfect. And the essence of no-code and the essence of doing and building stuff, it's actually asking ourselves all the time what's the fastest way to get from 0 to 1. So Peter Levels, I mentioned before, saw this opportunity. So what was his fastest way? He just pulled out a Google Sheet and he shared it with the world. He didn't think about building an entire frontend. So how we did the Holiday OS project, it's actually in Webflow, and it's actually a bunch of pop-ups which just move around. It's not like, you know, super complicated. We just used like a JavaScript library to drag things around. It's super easy to implement. And it just works, and it serves its purpose. And people loved it, and clients loved it. It was amazing to watch how it unfolded. This is super important, because we will not always be right. We all have ideas, we all act on them, but super important part of doing stuff and building products is to keep trying. So someone would ask himself, how many tries does it take to make it? There is no definite answer, but I will show you an example of Peter Levels, the guy I mentioned before. It's actually take a lot of tries. This is a list, and it has like 70 records, I think, 60, 70, of the products and ideas he had and tried to actually do, but didn't work out. And he never gave up. He gave himself this challenge, which is also super cool, and I might do it. I think I'm ready. Which is like giving yourself this challenge of building a product a month. So just like, you know, launching a product every month, shipping something, trying, learning in the process. And that's what no-code allows us to do, because we can use something that is already pre-made, visually drag and drop this stuff, and it's so easy to test out. So yeah, and this is what Peter Levels also posted, that only 4 out of 70 plus projects he ever did made money and grew. And 95% of everything he ever did failed. So his hit rate was about 5%. And we all think that we will get always everything right. And no-code is not about getting everything right. No-code is actually about testing stuff and doing and validating stuff. And more importantly, shipping stuff. And that's how Pickle came to life, that product I showed you on Hackathon. We had this idea, we had this other crazy idea. Let's try Bubble. It might work. Let's just do it in 2 days. Let's just ship it. This one actually worked, and it was super cool. Now it's written for the custom development. It's opened, so we can just sign up. But yeah, another example is me. It's me 5 years ago, literally. I was just working, doing this stuff. And I didn't even know. Like, the closest to the box model on the web was these boxes that I were stacking on top of these pallets. And I didn't even know what a div was. I didn't even know like HTML, CSS, and everything. I'm just talking in Paris now because I just started. Because I just kind of had this idea. Enough of that. I know I'm good with computers. I can click around. And then I realized I found WordPress. Whenever I talk about WordPress, I just get this goosebumps with previous clients. But yeah, I found WordPress, and then it opened my eyes on so many levels, because I realized I don't have to code. I can drag blocks and basically come up with a website. And that's, back then I even thought that doing websites is basically doing them on the canvas of WordPress, not designing them before. Now we know better. So what I'm trying to show you here is that with no code, I know I'm sounding like a coach, like motivational coach, but it's actually true. I just started, and where should you start if you are thinking about starting? If there are some people thinking about starting, like doing no code or anything like this. Webflow. Webflow is, in my opinion, the best starting point. When you didn't touch no code, you just kind of know about the movement, you want to get into something, and you want to, I don't know, make some money out of it. Webflow is the tool that is super well established. It has like high learning curve, of course, but the UI of Webflow is so cool to play around, and websites are not so complicated as products. And also a superpower of Webflow is the university they have, where you can just go and for free learn everything about it. Everything about it. And it's so fun to do because the production level of these videos is insane. It's actually insane. So yeah, if you are thinking about starting, just like I started before, just do this. And don't do WordPress, just do this. That would be, your life will be much easier. And remember, one super important thing. Whatever you do, and whenever you want to start, I don't know if you want to build a super big application on no-code, or you have your own no-code tool. Oh, there was a photo which disappeared, but don't worry. There was a photo of me behind, but it's always in your head. Like, I always remind myself of it, and actually behind this screen is supposed to be a photo where I was sitting in Las Palmas, Gran Canaria this year, with a neon behind me that said, "It's all in your head." I really liked it, because it always comes down to the idea. Peter Levels had an idea, we had an idea for Pickle, these two guys from the university had an idea for Cactus. And they just had this idea, they just let it grow. They saw no-code as an opportunity to build it, and they just kept persevering, and they weren't afraid of trying new tools. So yeah, the conclusion of this presentation would be one thing, and it's to just do stuff. Just do it, like Nike says. And it's the slogan of no-code. I feel like it should be the main sub-headline on all the no-code related events. Because no-code is all about doing, and it allows us to do stuff super fast. Like, you can literally build a product, launch it today or tomorrow, and become a multi-million-dollar business. Cactus grew, I think, like in first week, they had like 10,000 or 20,000 users. And they grew so fast because they just did it. They just had an idea, used the tool, and just launched it. Yeah, so that, I think, would be it. And there were supposed to be QR codes. We have some time left. I don't know if we are allowed to do a Q&A session here. Maybe. So if you have like any questions, right now, I'm open. If not right now, it's okay. We have a stand right below, which you can just say hi to us, and I'm happy to answer any questions. So yeah, thank you. Oh, there is questions. I think here. We have the microphone, yeah.
Hi, I'm J. Marie. I used to code before, web developer, but I'm so interested in no code. And I used to use WordPress. And I would like to know, because I haven't used Webflow yet, and I'm so much interested in using that instead of WordPress. Why do you consider Webflow as better than WordPress?
Okay, cool question. So you know plugins in WordPress, right? Yeah, you know how painful they can be sometimes when you have bigger websites. So main thing is plugins. You don't have plugins in Webflow. And what Webflow allows you to do, it's like a blank canvas. So you don't use themes. You don't use templates. You build. And you can help yourself with like pre-made components, but the styling superpowers and the code you get is pure HTML, pure CSS. And whenever you give it to the developer, they will tell you it's good. It's a good code. When you give a WordPress code to the developer, it's bad. And Webflow has also another thing, which is a CMS, which is a content management system. So when you build bigger websites, you have a ton of blog posts. You can do a custom content management system, which is super easy to implement in Webflow, and clients love it. and it's all running on super fast hosting inside. So it's very easy to iterate, very easy to deploy, very easy to have different stages. We used it for websites like landing pages. We used it for websites that had more than 100 pages. It all runs super smoothly. And it's like becoming a market standard, I feel like, in no-code. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Oh, cool.
Thanks so much, David. Great presentation, great slides,
Thanks,
nice font choice. My
Thank
question was around, there seems to be this discourse right now in the Twitter/X indie hacker community that like first-time founders focus on product and second-time founders focus on distribution. I was wondering in 2023, what are your thoughts on how distribution plays a role and no code in building million-dollar products and apps?
How distribution plays a role?
Yep.
That's a good question. So we are talking about like launch
like
marketing, like
marketing, building community, like there's various strands, community, audience, building an audience basically that you can market your product to before maybe building the whole thing.
Gotcha. So we talk a lot about it in Tonik. Actually, one of the guys here is running his own community, so you can join it. It's nocode8.club. Shameless plug. But answering your question, like whenever you touch on it, the distribution would be super important. But with no code, especially now, because it's still like not tapped into, I think. Like there's not many of these voices of no code there. So there is a huge opportunity to just like market your product around no code by just talking about no code. I don't know if you get me. Like doing content around no code can build you an audience very quickly. I just feel like it's like even we did an event in Poland 2 months ago. It was the first no code event. And like 200 people showed up and the amount of questions there were insane. So it's kind of showing that you can distribute it by just building, like talking about no code around. It's like the perfect time right now because there's not many like super established experts in this field yet.
Gotcha. So you're like kind of saying like build buzz about your company by kind of talking about the innovation that you're using to build it.
Yeah, and it's easier with no code because it's, as I mentioned, it's still, at the starting stages. So you can set the trend and that's it.
Awesome, thank you.
Hey, great presentation.
Thank you.
I'm just challenging that thought.
Yeah.
Do customers and users care about no code or do they care about kind of the problems? Or have you seen that there's like benefits out of speaking of no code as the front that the user is actually using, right? Like
yeah. So super cool challenge. So what I was mentioning here is like building, like getting, like let's say clients and leads. But of course, clients will not care that you talk about no code. They will care about if you have like some articles about like doing specific stuff because it shows that you're an expert in this field. But yeah, clients care about the later stage, like launching stuff.
The
right?
problems.
Yeah, the problem. Yeah, like solving problems. Yeah. It all comes down to it. So yeah, it's different things. Any more questions? Nice.
Hello, well, thanks for the presentation.
Thank you.
So you give us some advice about like building products, especially about the mindset and shipping fast. And you said there were a lot of different strategies. So I wanted to know more particularly about you and if you build for example, a company yourself, and what would be your key takeaways, your own.
In building products?
In building products, what would be the most important for you?
That's a broad topic. It all comes down also that what we notice is super important to choose a tool accordingly. So if you choose a tool, like at the start, we just kind of assess what tool will be the most capable of. Because if you choose a wrong tool, you're kind of staying limited. And it's not, cool to just move around all the tools. So choosing a tool would be super important. That's why we love Webflow for websites. For products, we use mainly Bubble because we know it, so it's tested, and we kind of know it's safe. And then it's just learning as you go, and basically, like there's no we have a process for websites, let's say. So it's working very close with our like designers and building stuff with like pre-made style guides, like fundaments. But it's a whole other like technical topic there. But like my takeaway is when assessing a tool in no code is super important. Yeah. Another question. Let me just pass it maybe.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of an old school guy, I guess. And when we started, it was, Flash was the technology used
Yeah.
to create kind of no code. And the problem with Flash is it was so easy to do stuff that we had a lot of shitty stuff. And when you say 5% of the products are actually good or makes money, it feels like we're going to have a lot of shitty stuff as well, and even more than with Flash. So you, as an agency, how do you consider that? How do you continue making quality? And
Yeah, it all comes down to this consulting stage. So, talking about, we are not there for all the money, so doing everything that is thrown our way. It's about talking and validating those ideas. So whenever, like an example, someone has a crazy idea, we love the idea, and he tells us, let's use this, let's build this, and we're like, calm down, let's do a Figma prototype. Let's test, let's try. So this is kind of our way of validating, but yeah, good point with no code, and I think especially in the coming years and with AI, you will be able to generate applications with prompts. Yeah. So it will be insane. Everyone will have an application. So yeah, a lot of them will be shitty, but a lot of them will be good, right?
Also, how do you make sure you build stuff that are useful? I mean, I have an agency as well in France, and yes, there are so many. People just looking for money, and what you said is not build useful stuff. It's just $1 million stuff. So, and it uses a lot of energy as well. No code.
Yeah, we are always trying to find a way of this. Like everyone, I think a lot of people here, what is the useful product which we can build, right? And I think there is no formula for that. It's, I wish there was. But it's, thinking about what people need and what will be actually useful. So the thing that Peter Levels built, actually people needed it and they use it to this day. I use it myself for traveling. I go there, I check things, and that's why it generates a ton of money for him. Because people find value there. Any other questions? Let me. Here you go.
Hello, my name is Alia.
Hello.
I want to ask one question.
Yes.
Because I'm writing now my thesis work. How creativity boosts startups to become a unicorn? Because you're talking about multi-million companies, about the founders. And what is the role of creativity there?
Wow, I love this. I finished philosophy myself. So, creativity. How do I approach this question? So what's this role?
Maybe how they fostered the creativity in the teams, maybe how you foster creativity.
Yeah, so main thing I think is not getting this putting people in cages. You just give them freedom. And if they want to do design, let them do design. If they want to do websites, let them do websites. Don't force them. Give them space. Because my slide of not overthinking was also about giving yourself space to get the ideas. So if you do the stuff all the time, you just kind of become a robot. So we also let ourselves, if the time allows, and we are working on it, on projects not being so tight. And what we love to do, and I myself love to do, is to add an extra layer to the websites, like animations, let's say. It's something that's not super important from a client perspective, but it lets our creativity flow. So that's making this space for it and allowing it is most important, because you can very easily get caught up in just doing and in just building and just selling another website, another product, and stopping from time to time, thinking about nitty-gritty small stuff which can be you have in your head is my main part, and that's how creativity plays out in this.
Do you have some life hacks or tips to share among the founders, maybe?
Life hacks about creativity?
Yeah, you have some meetings, brainstorm, so you have.
I think what's super important is actually being with the people in the same room. We are living in a remote world. We are also working hybrid. There's a lot of people doing remote stuff, but the screens block us. It's still okay, but being in the same room, that's how we built Pickle, the app. Being in the same room, I know it allowed us to do it in 40 hours because the ideas have a smaller, distance to travel. So being in the same room I feel like companies, especially after COVID, which will work together more in rooms with themselves, will be better than the companies that only do remote. It's my theory, but I kind of feel like it. Yeah, so that's one thing. Another, allowing yourself to have the space, right? So I'm yet to do it, but like, you know, turning off your computer for 3 days and living normal, right? So making this space. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
No worries. All right. Thank you, everyone. So any questions, like hit me up, understand, or just add me on LinkedIn or anywhere. Thank you so much. It's awesome.